Hello and welcome to The Telescope. Every week we'll bring you a fresh insight from the biggest car market in the world. Today we're on a dynamic test drive event of the Zeekr 7X. We brought you the static review a few weeks ago, and in that review I said that car has a lot of equipment that's not really fit for this class of vehicle. And today I'm pleased to say this car you see here today is very much an entry spec, and it has none of those unfitting equipments. This is unconventional door. This is not that electronically powered door, so there's no confusion whether you should press a button or pull the handle. When this car is unlocked, if you want to open a door, just pull the handle, like always the way it should be. This does not have that stick out rear table, rear screen combination. To be honest, that's a really small screen and quite far away from you. You are much better off just holding your own iPad. It's a marginal experience. Now this area looks very clean and a lot of space. This is on the fixed seat. This is not on that sliding rear seat. Remember in the static review, when I slide the seat back to its most rearward position, my knee is almost knocking against the back of this front seat. So now, this is a very generous space. You also gain clever under-seat storage space here. And you do not get this with the sliding seats. If you're interested in this car, I highly recommend you not to choose that sliding rear seat. But there's one equipment that I'm very happy to see remain standard on all trim levels, and it's this, the rear privacy curtain. I mean, yeah, there are privacy glass and this. They do two completely different things. Rear privacy glass cuts down the amount of light that can enter the cabin, but if you want real privacy, this is the way to go. Talking about things I don't like, maybe it's just me, but I just don't like piano black paint anywhere. Should not be here, definitely 100% should not be at such a high frequency touch point. This is just a recipe for scratches, fingerprints, and this material generally just doesn't age well. If you are having physical discomfort just watching me doing this, covering this area with fingerprints, I'm sorry for that, but yeah, this is just wrong. Second dislike, this central armrest. It's quite a lot higher than this armrest on the door, so when I'm sitting like this, my body is sort of like this. My left arm is a lot higher than my right arm. And about cup holders, I would like to see those stretch out cup holders so that when I place a drink here, my arm can still lie relatively forward on the central armrest. Third dislike is this top door handle. The rest of this car is completely Audi, BMW, Mercedes level of luxury, especially in the interior, but the only exception is this door handle. In terms of material fit and finish and just the way this door handle retracts itself, this feels like a Volkswagen door handle rather than a BMW door handle. Fourth dislike, and this may be not a dislike, but things they can improve. Some of the buttons on this car are at the correct places, but they are quite small. For example, this door opening. You see, when I put my hands here, it is naturally at my finger's position, and it does work, but this door handle is just very small. And it's not just this. Without me telling you, where do you think you should open this boot? Where do you think is that release button? It's here. It's a very small button on the right hand side of this camera. This position is not incorrect, but this button is unusually small. I would ideally like to see the entirety of this black bit to be the door opening. When you are carrying a lot of stuff, when you are full with both arms, the last thing you want is to go, I can't find that button. We're on the move with the Zeekr 7X. This is on the same powertrain as the Zeekr 007 Saloon we showed you earlier in the year. So 800 volt platform, 420 horsepower rear wheel drive. The car we're driving here today is the dual motor 4-wheel drive with 646 horsepower. I would suggest for 99% of the public, the rear wheel drive model is enough. This 4-wheel drive version arguably has too much performance, not for this car. I mean, this car handles roll very well, but for this seat. This is a similar criticism I mentioned in the Aston Martin DBX review, that car has a 48-volt active anti-roll bar. That car has even better roll control than this. They both have a lot of performance. Well, you may think why I'm comparing this 30,000 euro car to the Aston Martin DBX, well, because these two have similar level of performance. They all have a lot of straight line performance, very good roll control, but the seat doesn't have a lot of lateral support. So if I'm cornering hard, the car is not rolling around, but the lateral G-force is still there. And if the seat doesn't have enough lateral support, then it's up to me, the driver or the passenger, trying to stable ourselves at the center of the seat. And that's not very pleasing. I would suggest, especially for the four-wheel drive model where you have that extra performance and you're more than likely, compared to the two-wheel drive model, to push this car to its limit, you need to fit a seat with better lateral support on the four-wheel drive model. One thing that is slightly unusual with this car is the ground clearance. The car we're driving here today has the air suspension, so it can adjust its ride height between, I believe, 180mm to 230mm. But even if you go for the coil spring version, the ride height is fixed at 190mm. That's 30mm more than Model Y or the usual battery electric SUVs, because to achieve a smaller frontal area, to achieve better drag performance, even electric SUVs tend to have lower ground clearance compared to, let's say, petrol-powered SUVs. This has more ground clearance, and the manufacturer told us there's quite nearby an off-road facility used to owned by Land Rover. And we're welcome to try this car on that testing facility. It presumably can do all the things that Land Rover Discovery can do. While that's very fascinating, I've explained in other reviews that although I used to cover cross-country rallying as a journalist, I'm not that into off-road driving. And while it's welcome to see this car can do that, I doubt many people will drive a battery electric SUV really through some seriously challenging terrain. But this car that's why when you see this car's appearance, it stands taller, it's more upright, it's more muscular. It's not a very aero efficient SUV, although it has all the range, but it's just that if you want out and out energy efficiency, this is not on the same level, let's say Tesla Model Y, where that's a coupe SUV. This is a more traditional body style SUV. One thing I think is worth a mention is this car, you can adjust the brake pedal feel through the infotainment system. And when you set this brake pedal to sport mode, the initial travel of this brake pedal feels very sporty. It gives you a lot of confidence. While some people, if you're just relaxing, driving the car at slow speed, you might find this to be too nervous. But I feel this is a very welcome change, because with most electric vehicles, if they want to conserve energy, they will always prioritize regen through braking through the electric motors rather than the hydraulic brakes. Well, this is very well calibrated. The switch over between hydraulic brakes and the energy regen from the motor, I can barely tell. I checked with a engineer on this test. He's a brake calibration engineer. He said, well, we actually compensated hydraulic brakes for the initial bit of travel. So if you value brake pedal feel, I know that's very niche, very nerdy, but this car actually gives you that very confidence initial travel where it's very rare to see on other electric vehicles. Overall, the Zeekr 7X is a very accomplished electric SUV. It's not exactly a Model Y coupe SUV rival. It's more upright, more chunky, but it more than stands on its own. We're filming this on September the 12th. It's about 8 days before the actual launch. I'm guessing this car to be a roughly 29,000 euro, there or thereabout car. I think it's got all the power, it's got all the range, and I know this is highly subjective, but I think it looks quite good in this color. And I've just explained to you why the entry-level spec is the best spec. So for 29,000 euros, you get all of this really is a better all-in-one electric car, in my opinion, for most families than the Tesla Model Y. I know they're not strictly rivals. That is all from the Telescope today. If you enjoyed this video, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming along very soon.